Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the video. My name is Bradley, also known as the Swim. Today we're going to be looking at game week 30. Yeah, we're back. We've had the international break, we've had the FA Cup weekend, so let's talk about game week 30. There's a lot to talk about. There's a lot of injuries that happened over the international break and the FA Cup weekend. So let's get into this video where we talk about which players to avoid and which players to look out for. So let's get into this video. I hope you guys enjoy it. So we're going to start with the top transfers out and the people to avoid. So we've got Palmer. So he missed the last game against Arsenal. He missed the international break for England. Got a muscle injury, 75% chance. Do you really want to risk it? The London derby against Spurs, bit of a tricky one. And I think people out there, you've got to look at other players, what players you're going to look for, etc., and all that. And I think Palmer, he may be on the bench, but do you want to take that risk? For me, maybe not. Next one, Trent Alexander. Got an ankle injury. He picked up on the international front, or did he pick up beforehand? I can't remember. But again, it's a 25% chance. It's against Everton. Would he want to play his potentially last ever Merseyside derby? Maybe. But do Liverpool want to risk it? Probably not. There's some interesting ones there. So we've got a defender and midfielder. Now we have a forward. Chris Wood did not play in the FA Cup game. I do know that he did play for New Zealand in the international break. But I didn't know if he came off injured or anything like that. There's a big chance there. It is against United. So I think a lot of people are going to be a bit of an interesting one here. Lewis Hall out for the rest of the season. Picked that injury up against Liverpool. So that's expected there. Now, here's another one. Erling Haaland. During the FA Cup game against Nottingham Forest, he did limp off the field. He had a little bit of a collision with the side advertisement boards. And yeah, he did get taken off after, I think, about 80 minutes, something like that. So again, precautionary ankle injury, knee injury. Yeah, I think you've got to look into that. Do Man City want to risk it? Probably not, because they've got a good replacement in. We'll talk about that in a second as well. We got a suspension for the next few game weeks. So again, we got a few games we're going to miss. Mikalenko, again, thigh injury. I think he picked that up on the international duty. But Everton do have a strong fixture coming their way. Gibbs White, again, picked that small little injury in the FA Cup game. I think he actually got suspended during his FA Cup game, actually. So, yeah. Anyone else? Gordon suspended until after this game week. So he'll be back for Leicester. Yeah, so there's a few players, big name players that have been doing well. Out for potentially this game week. Brian Number is another one that a lot of people are getting rid of purely because of their fixtures. The next three fixtures are tough. They don't have anyone in game week 34. That was Nottingham Forest, but now they're in the FA Cup semi-final. And I believe there's some other players as well, but we'll get back into that in a second. So, top transfers that have been in. Mishrai, there we go. There's a replacement for Haaland, and you're going to save yourself some money. That's a good one. Bruno Fernandes. But also, Fernandes was one of those top transfers out for this game week. Let me have a look. There. So, he's a bit on both. So, it's a bit of a hard one there. Again, the United, United have got Fuller, Forest, City, Newcastle coming up. So some strong fixtures there for United. Isak's a good one coming in. Star. So yeah, even Sar's a nice one. But again, they've got no game week 34. And that game week 34 is against Arsenal. So Arsenal won't have a game week 34. They will have a double somewhere else. Because of Palace being into that semi-final. But they do have Southampton coming up. So that could be a nice little earner there. Mo Salah, but a lot of people took Mo Salah out for game week 29 because Liverpool didn't have a game. And then probably going to bring him back in. Like I think I'm doing as well. Another player doing well, Justin Kluivert, did score against against City and the FA Cup, but they did lose in the end. So he's on a bit of form. Got some lovely fixtures coming up. There's some tricky ones, so a bit of 50-50 there. Gabriel's on there, even Haaland's on there, but I think a lot of people would have picked Haaland before that game week. So it's a bit of a hard one. Dan Burns, again, very good defender. Very cheap as well. Doesn't get that many points per game, which is a bit of an annoyance. I think that's where you got to look at. Eze is another good one, but again, points per match for midfielder not up there. Saka, a lot of people are thinking about because he said that he's potentially coming back. But for me, I probably won't put him in for this. I'll probably put him in for the Ipswich game. Maybe put him on the bench for this game, but we've got to think about when that Palace game is going to be. For me personally, I hope that Palace game is either in game week 33 or game week 35. But we'll see on that, especially with Liverpool and Newcastle. I don't want it in between. That's one thing I do not want. So it's going to be tricky. They could put it in between game week 37, 38, but we'll see. Watkins is up there as well. Livramento, good, cheap player. Timber is up there. Watkins as well. So I think people out there, you've got to look carefully at what you want to look for. As you can see from the injury list, it's quite a big one of City players. Okay, we've got a lot of Brighton players on that injured list. So that's going to be a bit tricky for Brighton. Yeah, so I think people got to look very carefully of who they're going to pick, why, and also what people don't really talk about is that formation. So for me, that last formation was a 4-4-2. But the problem I've got now is Trent, no Wood, potentially Palmer, Mikolenko. So I've got a bit of a dilemma to make. And as you can see, there's no Mo Salah. So I've got to get Mo Salah back in. That's one of my transfers. Then I've got 2 transfers. So we do have to look into that. But with that, oh no, I've only got 1 transfer. Okay. I've got 1 transfer. And the time for it, of course, the 1st of April at 6:15. And here are your fixtures for game week 30. So we have Arsenal versus Fulham. We have Wolves versus West Ham. We have Nottingham Forest versus Manchester United. On the 2nd, we have Bournemouth versus Ipswich. We have Brighton versus Villa. City versus Leicester. Newcastle versus Brentford. Southampton Palace. Liverpool Everton, which is a big, big game. And then to round it off, Thursday night, we have Chelsea versus Spurs. So they are your fixtures for game week 30. So for now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you like it. My team reveal will be out around about 4 o'clock on the 1st. Stay tuned for that video. For now, ladies and gentlemen, good luck. I'll catch you on the next one. Goodbye for now.